Two very argumentative men were on Question Time this week. This was Alastair Campbell and Nigel Farage discussing a speech Keir Starmer had given earlier in the day.
I was disappointed. And Nigel says that immigration is the big bursting issue. I was disappointed Keir didn't mention Brexit, because I think Brexit has done so much damage to this country. Well, I'm sorry, Nigel. I'm sorry. And Nigel doesn't want to accept.
You are the worst loser in history, Alastair. No. Get over it. It's 8 years ago.
Nigel,
move on.
No, you won.
It's done.
You're the worst winner.
It's done.
Because you've never taken responsibility for what you've won.
It's done. No, we're independent. We're free, and we're not part of that Eurozone that's collapsing around its ears.
I'll tell you what you are,
Rejoice.
Nigel.
We're out.
I'll tell you what you
we're
are.
free.
I'll tell you what you are. You're somebody, and we've seen it already tonight, you're somebody who will exploit any problem going for your own political ends. Brexit was a fundamentally damaging thing to this country. That is your one legacy, and you now don't even want to talk about it, because even you know,
I want to talk
even
about
you
it.
know that it has damaged this country, it's made us poorer, it's made us weaker, and it's hit our standing in the world.
No, as I say, this major decision was taken 8 years ago. It gave us the chance. Gave us a chance
5%
to be significantly richer.
Gone.
Gave us the chance to control our borders.
We didn't do it your way.
All those things, and sadly, this mob,
didn't do it
the
your
Tories,
way.
didn't
If
do
we'd done it
any of
Nigel's way, it would all have been sunlit.
Would you rather be like France right now or Germany
No, I wouldn't.
right now? Well,
the comparison is what we would be if we'd have stayed in. 5% bigger economy.
No, we'd have joined the Euro if you'd had your way back 30 years ago.
You see, what you'll do is you'll throw up a different argument.
Hang on, don't talk at the same time.
It's over. The war is over.
I'm sorry about that, Nigel, because I think you'll find
the war is over.
Young people in this country know that you've taken their future away from them, and they will get it back.
Move on.
That was Alastair Campbell and Nigel Farage. Now let's hear from the third most argumentative man in Britain. Aaron Bastani, what did you make of that clip?
Well, by the way, Farage is correct that the end goal for people like Campbell in the late 1990s was Britain joining the euro. That's just true. That is just a fact. That was the plan. Thank God we didn't. And for people that say, no, we should join the euro is a really good idea. The idea that the debt spreads, the idea that a country like Germany, which has run surpluses every year since goodness knows when, the idea that they can borrow at the same rate as somebody like Italy, which hasn't run a surplus since 1925, or Greece, which has defaulted 101 times in its history as a country, is crazy. You're not pricing risk properly. And it took away from countries like Italy the ability to devalue their currency to help exports, etc. Crazy idea. It's made so much of Europe so much poorer. One of the very few good decisions this country's political elite made was us not joining the euro. First point. Secondly, when you look at Alastair Campbell, what's his sort of political horizon? For people like me, it's very cheap, affordable, successful, high-speed rail, trams, house building, rent caps, renewable energy, publicly owned AI, scrapping tuition fees, a high productivity, high living standards economy. What's it for Alastair Campbell? 5% higher GDP. That was it. If we'd stop Brexit, GDP would be 5% higher. Really? You're litigating this. And what would that even mean, by the way? What materially does that mean? What does it mean? I don't know. There are countries out there with 5% higher GDP. I'd rather live in Britain. We have publicly owned healthcare, etc. So what does it mean? There are some states in the US, they're 5% wealthier than the UK. I'd rather live here. Anyway, I think it says a lot. And seeing Farage speak with the confidence that he had, seeing Campbell, I think really underscores, Michael, that my God, Farage has been tearing up trees in British politics for the last 20 years, but maybe he hasn't actually started yet. Maybe he's still got a long way to go. This sounds insane, but I genuinely would not be surprised now at this point, with the wind in his sails as it is, I would not be surprised if at some point in the future, Nigel Farage has a great office of state. People are saying he'll be prime minister. I think that's probably quite outlandish. I think Reform getting the most seats would be crazy. But you can certainly see how there might be in some kind of coalition or some kind of electoral agreement with the Conservatives in the future. And clearly, part of that deal would be Farage being a very powerful person. And I think he would quite like Home Secretary. So it really, for me, just showed the wind in the sails of Farage. And yes, Alastair Campbell has this hugely successful podcast. Well done, Alastair Campbell. But looking at that, he really is, politically speaking, yesterday's man.